Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, topic of the podcast, live stream, whatever the hell you want to call it, I pressured my ex into breaking up with me. And I didn't really think about this when I put the title up, but this is actually what's happened to me in a breakup. Long time ago. But this is something that actually just came up with a client that I've been working with for months now. And they're in an interesting relationship, I think you'd agree, where I don't want to say he gave an ultimatum, but he put some pressure on. And pressure in a relationship, when you want something or you're having a problem with something, is you speaking up. Forcing someone to do something or giving them a choice, do this or do that or I'm gone, is an ultimatum. Now, the pressure or the ultimatum are there for a reason. Ultimatums and pressure a lot of times will lead to a breakup. People do not like other people, especially when you're adults, telling them what to do. Danny, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Especially if you grew up with parents that did that to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just the truth, right?
Yeah.
But actually, I'm gonna counter with something here, Azam, and I agree with you on one level. Ultimatums don't work usually to stay together, but here's what they work beautifully on. You know where the person stands. And if you have to give an ultimatum, you're at the end. You've tried to negotiate. You've tried to say, hey, I don't like when you do this or I don't like when you do that. It hasn't worked. You usually don't go into an ultimatum and go, hey, I've been really thinking about it reasonably and logically. I've been journaling it out, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go with the ultimatum. Ultimatums are usually impulsive. You get to a point, you go, it's me or him. It's going out with your friends or being with me. You're at the end of your rope, right? It's not one of those things, and it's like, do they usually work? No. Can they work? Sure. Are they a good tactic? Not really. But long term, what they do is give you clarity. And really, that's what you're actually looking for, but you don't know you're looking for it. A lot of times people go, oh, I wish they would just tell me they never want to see me again. Or sometimes some people say, I wish I knew they were with someone else and then I could just move on with my life. It's like, I wish I could get burned by the stove so then I knew the stove burned me and then I don't touch it again. Right? What it is it gets rid of the uncertainty. It's like, okay, now I know you're not willing to do that right now and I'm tired of waiting. It doesn't work to keep them, but it does work for you in that moment to get really clear. Hey, they're not willing to change, man. They're not going to do what you want to do, and they're not going to meet you halfway on the bridge. The best case scenario is you talk it out, whatever the problem is, you meet each other halfway on the bridge, or someone gives in a little bit more than the other person, but you negotiate something. You go, hey, look, I'm not going to stop drinking or hanging out with my friends, but I'll make sure that I call you before 11 o'clock if I'm out with them, and I won't stay out past this time. I'm just giving you a random example, right? And the reason I brought this up today is there's a client of mine, and he's a great guy. I don't say that about everyone. He's just a good person. So he's really struggling right now because from all accounts, and we've talked about it quite a bit, he did a lot of good things. And the woman looks at him and says, she actually used these words: I've never had someone love you as much as you love me. I've never had someone show me this much love. Right? And for one, that statement right there tells me that she's been neglected of having a good relationship in the past. She's been neglected of having someone love her that much. And it might be one of those things that she could sabotage or not be as well received. But if someone tells you that in a relationship, hold your head up high, feel good about it, because that means you're a good partner. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what's happened over this man's relationship. He won't mind me discussing it. I might not get it. My memory's damn good, but it's not verbatim. Right? A lot of people, for how good my memory is, I'm probably going to miss a couple things here. But that's okay. Is that a good thing to hear, though? Good question, Azam. You mean specifically when someone says, "I've never had someone love me like you love me"? I think it's two ways. I think it is a solid thing in the sense that it means you're a loving individual that's conveyed love very well and have been a good boyfriend, partner, fiance, what have you. I think that's solid. If the person is an individual that had a damaged childhood or had a damaged past relationship, they could be saying, I've never seen love like this, so I don't really know how to deal with it. I don't know how to accept it. But I'm going to say, Azam, overall, if someone says it to me, I've had a girlfriend before say, "You're the best boyfriend I've ever had." That was I take that as positive. Someone else would go, "Oh, well, how many boyfriends did she have then?" You know what I mean? Oh, we're all the boyfriends. I'm going to take it as a positive. I think it's a bit of an orange flag. It's not a red one. It's something that you could peel some layers back. But overall, I think it's a compliment, right? And where I'm going with that is, if you hear that and they break up with you, it wasn't you, right? If I have a girlfriend tell me, "I've never been loved this way before, and you're the best boyfriend I've ever had," and then they end up breaking up with me, that tells me they're a bit flighty. They're a bit hot and cold, and the problem probably isn't me, and that's where I'm going with this one. So this particular relationship, I was trying to dig up some old emails, but there's been so many emails between us that it was hard to find the first story. But basically what happened was, this individual, this was his first serious relationship out of a divorce. He divorced his wife. Him and his wife got a divorce. I think it was very agreeable. So it wasn't like he divorced or she divorced him. They were on good terms. But they were married 20 years plus, had multiple kids, had an overall good marriage, and just grew apart. And like he said, they were okay at the end. They still talk, and they're on good terms, and they raised 3 great kids. He's very thankful for that. And so he's in his early 50s, navigating the dating scene. Might have been in his late 40s at the time when he first was single. And he met a woman a few months down the road, that, dare I say, knocked his socks off. And turned out to be in a relationship for the next 6 years with this woman. And he said the first, I believe, 4 or 5 years were excellent, outstanding, wonderful. He said that people would actually stop them and go, "Wow, you guys look like such a happy couple." And, knowing this guy from live coaching sessions, I'm not surprised. He's a very nice, affable gentleman, but he's also got some masculinity to him. It's not like he's just, a pushover or something like that. He has a lot of confidence around women, and I'm not surprised. So he said that it's been great, it's been grand, it's been good. So what happened? Dun, dun. This could be made a movie, actually, this story probably. So he's living with her. They're having a great life. He said the intimacy was outstanding. I won't give you the details, but he was happy with that part. And he said the connection was great. He said trust was good. And then life happens, folks. Her ex-husband had a serious accident. A serious accident. He has an accident that he basically couldn't walk. So she said, look, the guy has nowhere to go. He doesn't have a whole lot of extra money. I'm going to take him in to my house. So this was supposed to be temporary, and being the good guy that he is, the guy I'm talking about, he said, no problem, hun. I understand. Because at this point, they were 4 or 5 years into a committed relationship. She lived with him for 2 years. Everything was rose petals and wine glasses, peaches and cream. And he thought it was okay. So the guy moves in. She, looks after him because it's her ex-husband. She cares about him in the way that he has nowhere else to go, and he's basically disabled. And not just a little bit. It's not like he just hurt his ankle, right? He had a serious surgery where he couldn't walk for I don't know if it was months or a year, right? So being patient. Guess what happens over the time, though? A year goes by. The guy's still in the house, and she doesn't have a relationship with this guy or anything like that. Doesn't seem like that. But guess what? The time that she used to spend with him has now been cut in half or cut in a third. And he doesn't like it because he thought this was temporary. He was being understanding. By the way, this woman also has 2 kids that have kids. So she's got grandkids. The 2 kids, I don't know the whole story, but the kids, let's just say they're not doing the best. They need help from mom from time to time. They're still around the house. And guess what? The ex-husband that lives at the house, that's their dad.
Whoa.
You following, Danny?
Yeah.
Am I going all over the place, or are you following?
I'm following.
Okay. So the dynamic I'm not sure of. He said that this house is his girlfriend's house, but I'm not sure if when they got the house, if the ex-husband didn't help her buy the house. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So in that case, you might feel some kind of obligation later on after years of being divorced that, he helped me buy this house and he has nowhere to go. That being said, it was supposed to be temporary. Philip, how you doing? Did you just join? So the story goes, it was supposed to be temporary. The guy moves into the house out of the accident, and it ends up being a year and a half down the road. She still has him at the house. Now she's got to deal with her kids over at the house, their kids, and their relationship turns into seeing each other once or twice a week, where before they lived together. Now, I know everyone's like Asam's like, oh, he didn't put himself first, but this is a unique situation, right? I don't know if it's just cut and dry. If I was in a relationship and my girlfriend's ex had a serious accident that wasn't just, like I said, a sprained ankle where he couldn't walk and he had nowhere to go, I'd probably say, yeah, I'm not really with you moving him in. If it was an ex-husband that they had kids with that they might have, bought the house together, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in that position. I'll tell you that much. I'd like to think I would be like, hell no. Right? But if someone says, hey, man, this is a unique situation, hun, if you need to take care of him, I don't have a problem with that. But it's temporary. Problem is, this wasn't temporary. He didn't know it would be temporary, but it became long-term without a finish line. So I think it's a year and a half, 2 years down the road, the guy's still at the house. The guy's got comfortable. And my client's even saying, I know this guy's never going to move because he's way too comfortable. What are humans doing? Humans and creatures, they like to be, what do we like? We like to know where our food's coming from. We like a place to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Creature comforts, right? It's like a friend of mine had the neighbor's cat over her house, and she's like, oh, this cat just loves me and it doesn't even like going home. Why? Because you're feeding it? Well, yeah, sometimes I feed the cat. No, that's why the cat the cat loves me. Do you feed it? Well, yeah, I give it some fit. Yeah, and you're probably giving it better food than its owner. The cat doesn't love you that much. So basically what happens is this guy gets really comfortable. Now it's an uncomfortable situation to boot him out of there. He hasn't told his girlfriend at any moment, he hasn't given her an ultimatum like, hey, it's him or me, because this guy's disabled. He's got a real injury, right? Now he's even offered to help the guy move out and maybe even put some money down on an apartment for the guy if it takes that much. It was turned down by her. She's like, no. Then on top of it, his girlfriend had to take care of aunt passed away. I think it's her sister or an aunt. I'm not sure the specifics. She passed away, and she had 2 daughters that were left that are teenagers, if I'm getting this correct. But basically, she had to take care of them also because the teenage daughter's father's, I believe, 70, right? So she's got all these things that came up that happens in life, and she has a full-time job, right? And he's at the end of the soup line because he doesn't live in the house. But when they're together, it's magic. The intimacy's excellent. And the problem is, though, he only gets to see her once a week if he's lucky. And even once a week, she might cancel on him because she's got all these other things going on. You following me? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people will go, oh, this is just easy, man. He should have never let her move in this guy. I don't know. I've never been put in that situation. I have a lot of compassion if someone gets in a serious accident. That's not something I want. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a jerk when someone gets in an accident where they can't even walk. Right? This accident wasn't like like I said, a sprained ankle or he had tennis elbow or he was just rehabilitating a bum hip. It was a serious fucking accident. And the guy's older. Okay? So I don't think his intentions were bad, but the problem was it just went on too long. And then what I think happened is the longer it went on, she still doesn't like it, but she learned how to deal with it. And she unfortunately just doesn't have the willpower or the sacrifice to just boot the guy out. But a lot of people go, well, why didn't she just boot him out? Well, she's got 2 kids with this guy, right? I believe she's in her late 40s, early 50s. She's got 2 kids that are grown in their 20s. This is going to alter their relationship. You're booting out dad when he's disabled? It's not easy, right, Danny? Mm-hmm. It's like, even if your kids are going to be like, what? And then you have this boyfriend on the side that we like, but you're going to put dad on the street? It's not cut and dry. Right? So now this is what happened recently over the last year when we've been doing our coaching. They've broken up about 3 times. And each time, the first 2 times, basically, she threw out terms like, you put too much pressure on me. Because this is his full-time girlfriend. He's in love with her. They've been together for, let's just say 6 years now. I might have the exact time wrong. 6 years now. And the first 4 or 5 years, they were full-time. Now he's been dealing with it. So yeah, sometimes he's like, hey, I want to meet up this week. Oh, I just don't have time. I got to take care of the grandkids. I got to do this. I got to do that. But they talk all week. They talk all week, right? But he gets to a point where he gets a little bit, hey, I want to see you. Hey, I want this. And then she goes, hey, stop pressuring me. Hey, stop pressuring me. Well, he's not pressuring her. He wants more time because that's what he had for 4 or 5 years. He's her full-time boyfriend. He loves her. When they are together, it's great. It's good. I believe him too. She can't find the time. She's got a full-time job. She's got grandkids in and out of the house. She's got a couple nieces in and out of the house. And she's got this ex-husband that's, been rehabilitating for 2 years. I don't know where his injury's at now. I don't know where his finances are at now, but he's damn comfortable. It's a mess. Now, if you knew my client the way I know him, the guy's got a heart of gold, and he's got a great sense of humor. I wouldn't call him like a no more Mr. Nice Guy where he's too nice. I wouldn't say that about him. I think he's got his boundaries. But it was a special situation. But now, this is what's happened. It gets thicker. The first breakup, she basically breaks up and says, I can't do this anymore. You're pressuring me too much, and I just can't make a decision. Variety of things, and breaks up with him. It surprises him. He starts thinking to himself, what did I do wrong? Before she leaves the breakup, she says, she brings up some petty things like he didn't pay a cable bill, and he didn't do this, and he didn't do that. And they were very petty things, not grounds to break up. So we unpacked that the first time, and he was able to go into no contact, begrudgingly, hurt, upset, surprised. And they ended up talking again. She came back and talked to him, this, that, and the other. He told her, hey, look, I want to see each other more often. So they get back together. That's fine. They get back together, and then the same thing kind of happens again. And then he goes into no contact again. And then one time she shows up to his door after no contact and goes, hey, look, why aren't you calling me? And by the way, while they were in no contact, she'd send him texts like, oh, I know you're seeing someone else. You don't, kind of like that. I know you don't even want to talk to me anymore. Very impulsive, guilt-ridden behavior. And then she shows up to his door, and he's in a good position, and he goes, hey, look, I'm not just going to get back with you. We're going to have to discuss this. I'm going off to a meeting, ... And they get back together again. Then within, I don't know, a few months, and I'm going to get the times wrong, and I'm not going to get this all perfect, they break up again. And this time he had sent me a text message, or an email, and said, hey, man, life's too short. I'm done. And when people usually say that, it's a definitive statement. Doesn't mean you're going to feel better, but you're locked in on moving forward. I'm done's a really big statement in the breakup world. I know no contact's a big one. I'd say I'm done's number one. He starts moving on. I hadn't heard from him for months. No news is good news in my line of work. Right? 3 months later, 4 months later, I'm not sure the exact time frame. Forgive me if you hear this later on or you're listening now. Contacts me and goes, hey, look, we did get back together. Right? That's great, man. This time, during the time that they were together, she told him, I want to marry you. I want to make everything work. So she came to the table. She met him halfway at the bridge and told him, I want to commit. I want to be with you. Right? So they're together for a few months. They have some great outings. She still has the guy living with her. Out of nowhere, they're in a text message exchange. He goes, hey, he says something to the effects like he wants to see her. She said she can't. All of a sudden she blows up. She goes, oh, this is just too much for me. I can't do it anymore. You're pressuring me too much. You want too much from me. You're a great guy, but I can't do this. It crushed him because this time she wanted to get married. It surprised him. It shocked him. It's the same playbook over and over again. And now he's in no contact for a month. He's been really strong about it. And it's been a tough month on him because he wants to contact her. But now in this month, what I wanted to unpack today on the show, he just sent me a email, and I don't think he'd mind if I share it because we're not sharing names or anything like that. He says, I want to unpack something. I spend some time writing in my journal and looking back deeper in the relationship. Just probably been 3 times that I can remember where she said I was putting too much pressure on her. I guess as I look to blame myself, I think I was really good at the beginning and we were getting back together, and that's why she asked me to marry her. After that, I started to crank up the pressure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reaching. I also think she opened the doors that Saturday, and I didn't walk through. I understand it's still the best thing for me because I didn't want to go back to the way it was. So I just want to share what I wrote him back. You cranked up the pressure for a reason. You didn't have a relationship where your partner treated you like a part-time job when you were willing to go overtime. Let's say you don't pressure her and accept seeing her once a week with the possibility of cancellation. Let's see, right? You'd be accepting the terms, and a year from now, you'd be wanting to break up with her. Right now, you're lonely and you're scared, and you're worried that you won't meet another woman like her. I understand. I've been there in my own life. But guess what? You made the right move. I don't know if everyone followed that whole story, the ins and outs here, but don't you agree he made the right move, Danny, in all your experience in life?
Not really. I don't think so.
You don't think he made the right move in breaking up with her?
No.
Why?
Dude, this will be hard to explain. So like, fuck.
Actually, I shouldn't say he broke up with her. She broke up with him.
Yeah. Wait. She broke up with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fuck.
You didn't listen.
No, I did, but like,
Azam said if Danny was next to me, I'd hit him. All right, gather your thoughts. Gather your thoughts, Danny, and I'll come back to you. But guess what? You made the right move. You wanted more time, more attention, and to integrate her into our family. All reasonable requests. She didn't meet you halfway for any of them. Do you really want the relationship back the way it was, the way it's been for a year, the way it would be for the next year? I mean, it's what happens though is when you're scared and you're alone and you break up, you start thinking the feeling sucks so bad that you go, I would go back to a defective relationship that I wasn't happy in to get rid of the pain. Now, what I really wanted to talk about today is pressure, ultimatums do result in breakups. No one likes to be pressured in a breakup. But you're pressuring someone not because, and someone just asked me, I got a question, how controlling is this guy? Let's dig deeper. How insecure is he? Attraction killers. He's not controlling at all. I mean, look at it this way, LinderTube. He was willing to let her move her ex-husband in when he had an extremely bad injury. He's not a controlling person. He's not an insecure person either. He's not. The pressure was because you weren't getting treated fairly in the relationship. This wasn't a case where he was being needy or weak. He was like, hey, look, I want to see each other more often. Hey, look, I want to help you out with some of your family issues. Hey, the ex-husband's lived there a long time. Isn't it time for him to move out? These are all things that needed to be addressed, and he was addressing them. Yeah, but She, instead of sorting out that pressure and going through them one by one, just decided to break up. Now, this is where I come to this. If you're going to be in a long-term relationship, one of the worst things someone can do, or the best things someone could do, is go, oh, just forget it, let's break up, instead of talk about it, instead of negotiate, right? Pressure was her words, not his words. Pressure was her interpretation, right? My point is, ultimatums and pressure, okay, they're not good, but sometimes they're there for a reason, because you're unhappy with the current terms. Now, years back when I had my bad breakup that I've always referenced back to and I come back to, that's how it went down. It wasn't she broke up with me or I broke up with her. It was pretty much like an ultimatum. It was a big fight, and it was like, you got to stop going out with your friends, getting drunk, going out on the weekends. Can't do this anymore. I don't remember the specific words. And then, and I thought, at the time, I thought I was throwing down my trump card like, yeah. Because to be honest, in 5 years, I usually got my way. I was usually king of the roost in that relationship. I dropped down that card and I went. Now, months later, I was like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, oh, if I wouldn't have done that, maybe weeks down the road, because I remember before that fight, my girlfriend at the time was like, let's go to Napa this weekend. She had a plan to go away for the weekend. She knew things were bad. She knew we weren't getting along. She knew I was fucking upset with her. She said, hey, let's go away for the weekend. I think it's a good time. I think we should do this. No, I wanted to have a talk. I wanted to have an argument. I wasn't a big arguer. But you know what? I was fucking fed up. Because the same shit was going on for months. Yes, it resulted in a breakup. But guess what? That fucking breakup was the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't see my life being any other way. It was a huge fork in the road. You know why? If I would have took the high road that day and been like, we'll just talk about it later. You know what? She can go out with her friends anytime and get drunk and come home late at night. You know, she's been doing it for a while. Oh, and sometimes she just stays over her friend. Like, no. Someone's like, oh, you're being controlled. You should be kind. No. When you're fed up, you got to speak up. You got to speak up. And then, like I said, let the chips fall where they may. But guess what? You got your dignity. You got your balls. And you know what? There's a choice, right? My mother, I was just talking to my mother about this earlier today. When I was having breakfast, I was on the phone with her. And we were talking about what I was going to talk about today. And I don't always talk to my mom about this stuff. We'll get her on the live stream one day on Skype. And my mom goes, well, you know, there's the choice. The choice is you can stay in the relationship and be upset and miserable, or you can be single and be upset and miserable. But it's a choice. And I was like, okay, right? But here's where it's a problem. And here's where it's a problem in this particular breakup. You cranked up the pressure because you weren't happy. And I just know the twists and turns of this breakup way more than I'm even discussing now. You got fed up. You got fed up because the same shit kept happening over and over again. Right? That's what fed. I had a great relationship with my girlfriend. My girlfriend treated me well. We were in a good relationship until the end. Right? Until the end. And when I did confront her, it wasn't just like one thing. It had been like 3 or 4 months of what I thought of as ill behavior in a long-term relationship. Now, when I had confronted her before that. I just lost it. I got to a point where I was just lost it. Ultimatums can lead to breakups. Pressure can lead to breakups. But sometimes those breakups need to fucking happen because the pressure and the ultimatum, the reason why you put them out there is you wanted just an answer. I don't want to continue the way we're going. So I'd rather you smack me in the face with, yeah, I'm not going to change. Or, yeah, I can't do that right now. Because at least I have some certainty of where you're at and that you're not willing to meet me halfway or make some adjustments. And when you put on extra pressure or you throw an ultimatum out there, it's not because you're trying to hurt the other person. It's because you want an answer. You're tired of playing the same game, right? It's kind of like at the end of the. I don't watch hockey at all. You know hockey, Danny? Do you watch hockey?
No.
No. Hockey's not a big sport in Thailand. Surprise, surprise. We don't have ice here. But one thing that hockey has at the end of the game is I believe they have if the score's tied, you get to a mode where like you can go one-on-one with the goalie and it could be game over. Right? Isn't that true? It's just ultimatums are one of those things where it's like, you know what, I'm tired of this. Let's just have a duel and see who wins. And the person that cares less in the ultimatum usually wins. People don't like to be told what to do. My point is, ultimatum, yeah, it is a demonstration of a lack of power. Words without action means nothing. Law of power, never express anger in words, always in action, demonstrate, never explicit. Right. But here's the thing. If you get to that point and basically lose your cool and lose your shit, lose your emotion, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. You're unhappy. You're tired of it. Maybe deep down inside, you want to know, is this going to be the end right now? My point is, looking back at my own situation, yeah, no, we could have went to fucking Napa for the weekend. We could have worked things out. We could have had a good conversation. But guess what? The same shit would have happened. Nothing was going to change. I knew that. And in this individual situation, this shit's been going on for over a year. And so the alternative is, if you can go back in time, which no one can do, by the way, that I know of, but you can do it in your head if you're a nutcase. You can go, oh yeah, if I was back in time and I had that same situation, I didn't make that text or I didn't make that call and I didn't pressure them, then I'd be in the same relationship where every week I'd be thinking, God, I wish they made more time for me. God, I wish they cared about me a little bit more. God, I wish, right? The reason you pressure someone or you have an ultimatum in a lot of relationships, not always, and let me put it to you this way. Let's just say you're a good person who likes who you are and most of your friends and family members find you to be the same way. You're a pretty likable individual. People don't tell you you're a piece of shit or an asshole very often or a jerk. Then you applying pressure, then you applying a little bit of pressure and an ultimatum, that means it's out of your character. That means you're at the end of the rope. It's not the ideal situation. It's not the ideal way to communicate. It isn't. It's human, though. How many times, I don't care who you are, if you are, the most patient person in the world that's a psychologist, like Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris or some of these people that are online, and, if you're the only people that I would put my money on that just never lose their cool is like a Zen master monk. Right, Danny? Like someone that's, meditates 12 hours a day and just, makes their life extremely simple and dedicated to the church or to the, things like that. But most human beings are capable of losing their cool. And you know how they lose their cool? You know how people lose their cool? Mm-hmm. Is when something's done repeatedly to them that they can't fucking fix. It's frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's really frustrating. Right? And so You putting pressure on someone, or them saying you're pressuring them, or having an ultimatum, or getting to that point, it's not you fucked up all the time. It could be that you are at a time where you go, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with this crap and this worry and this relationship, and I just want an answer right now. I just want to rip off the Band-Aid. Is it something I would recommend as a tactic? Probably not. Probably not. But I'll tell you this, down the road, 10 years later, and I'm just going to tell you, it's easy to sit at this mountaintop where I'm at. 10 years later, I go, oh my God, in that moment, man, that was a glorious moment for myself. There was crying from my girlfriend, there was anger from me, and there was probably, I would say, a good 10 months of wreckage on that breakup. Oh, in the first 6-7 months, I was hurt, I was depressed, I was sad, because I'll tell you the truth. I thought when I'm in that moment, looking back, I thought, oh, she's gonna wilt. I thought she'd wilt in the first day. I thought she'd give in. But I'm so happy she didn't. Because if we would have got back together right away, guess what? The same problems would have bubbled up. They weren't going away. Because they had been going on for a while, and she was comfortable, and she liked who she was and what she was doing. And that's the same case of the story I just talked about. Doesn't take away the second guessing or missing the person. Doesn't take any of that away. But I would say I'd rather be out of a relationship in pain, recovering, moving on, moving forward, than be in a relationship where I'm scraping and clawing for some attention or to get a reasonable meet in between. And some things that are just not negotiable, and some people will just tell you the things that you want to hear. Oh yeah, next time I'll just come home earlier. Next time, oh yeah, you know what, you really pressured me this week to see you, but I had other things to do. Whatever it is, the pressure and the ultimatum are because you're not happy. Now, to answer an earlier comment, I don't know if it was Spirituality or Lindertube, to say, is the person controlling? Now, if you have an individual, man or woman, by the way, because women can be very controlling and bossy too, that's jealous, controlling, and manipulative, and they throw out pressure and manipulation and ultimatums as a way to win every single argument or be controlling, that's another dynamic. That's not what I'm talking about. That's different than what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is when you're in a relationship that has been pretty damn good for a long time, and you know what it's like to have a good relationship with this individual, and then circumstances change and the relationship changes, you're unhappy, and suddenly you're feeling like, why am I so unhappy? That's when the pressure bubbles up. People that's just how they run relationships, totally different animal. Totally different animal. All right, let me get into the live stream. I pressured my ex into breaking up with me. Any thoughts, Danny?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna cruise back through. Philip, how you doing? Skinner, yo. Hard to believe there was nowhere else to go. I wouldn't take him, but more importantly, I wouldn't date a woman with a complicated background anyway. We all make mistakes. In this particular case, okay, so this is what you brought up, Azam. This woman didn't have a complicated background to start with. These are where timing and circumstances come up later on. You see, so it's not like you met this person with these problems baked in. They bubbled up 4 or 5 years later when you had deep feelings for each other. So this wasn't the case. Hi, Coach Max. Credits with a Z. Welcome to the first stream. I don't date at all anymore. Well, that's a tactic in itself. I would call that relationship fasting, T-Mac, and fasting can be good for you. I think that if you're at a point where you're comfortable doing that, good for you. You can really get in touch with what you want, and at any given moment, if you want to date again, you can. I'm considering not dating, not mentally right, and breakups get me in a rut for years. Well, making the statement that breakups get you in a rut for years, you can make that true all day, every day. You also could say, you could change the frame, credits, and go, you know what, in the past, breakups have had me in a rut for years. I don't like being in a rut, and I'm not going to let that happen this time. How can I get on deck quicker because life's too short? See how that reframed? Let's talk about it. Credits, go to writemac.com. Send your story in if you like. A little bit of discomfort up front can save a great deal of discomfort down the road. G-Money, you should write books. And nobody likes to deal with the discomfort, myself included. I remember, and the reason I unpacked this today and it bubbled up my old day, I remember thinking like, oh shit, did I make a wrong move in that last argument? We could have hashed it out. Looking back, hell no. If it didn't happen then, it was going to happen another time. The circumstances were not going to change. And people will say, okay, we can change, but do they really change? Been a year and a half and still no desire. My ex manipulated me into letting her stay 3 months past our breakup, would sob and say she'd be homeless. Found out after she's moved, she'd been cheating. Real piece of work. Well, you know what? If someone wants to manipulate in that way, I mean, as a human being, don't be down on yourself or upset. Like, if someone's going to use the excuse of being homeless, you know, what are you going to, I dare you to be homeless, you know? Don't date a woman with kids and an ex-husband, problem solved. Well, when you get to a certain age, it's more difficult, I think. But I haven't dated a woman with an ex-husband or with kids. That's a way to really simplify things. But when you get in the dating world in your 50s, I think it becomes more difficult in certain areas. Actions tell you more about people than their words. She is willing to compromise her relationship with this man over a relationship of her past. That's a dry answer. That's the dry answer. How you doing, Rob? Rich Cooper. I've seen Rich Cooper videos. I know that Azam likes him quite a bit. In Canada, stepdads are on the hook for child support. That's a deal breaker for me. No single moms. This wasn't the case in this case. Holy crap. MacMan is live. Been a minute since I visited your live. Lindertube. How you doing? Stepdads are on the hook for child support? Really? Her sympathy is re-attracting her. I love my cat. We cuddle in bed at night. Good enough for me. Wow. All right, T-Mac. That's a special cat. Get back together. Boink, boink. He should walk away. Seriously, I hate this story. No contact forever, man, for your own sake. What's up, roller girl? Don't settle for less than what you deserve, man. She is less than what you deserve, period. Don't settle for leftovers or breadcrumbs. I got a question. How controlling is this guy? Not controlling at all. I hope you get the house. Keep me busy. I hope to get this house. Good for you, T-Mac. She doesn't want to admit to him that she's in love with her ex-husband. No, that's not the case. I don't think that's the case. Only pressure, the mushroom tip. Doing monthly double backflips all over Chad. I don't know what that is. Pressure or boundary. Girls' night out are the end. Guy friends to begin with are that too. Mansplaining. Maxplaining. I've heard of this term, mansplaining. To be frank, guys are conditioned to tolerate BS. That's funny. Are you conditioned to tolerate BS, Azam? I don't think so. My breakup was great too. I'm a completely different person. No longer worship women or chase, just doing my thing. Your gut is always right. Damn it, this is hitting home, Mac. Had a girl I was seeing have a guy from out of town visit her for a few days. When he left town and I hung out with her, I asked her if she slept with him in the bed I asked her if she slept in the same bed as him. Yep, that's my mom. Yes. Yep, I knew deep down my girlfriend was cheating, but my emotions got in the way. She scoffed at me and avoided answering it and acted upset with me. Well, you know, it's interesting. I know of a woman that was in a relationship where she was cheating, and she said she was validating it and different things, but she said if I was asked directly, did you cheat? I thought this was interesting. Did you cheat? She said she couldn't lie if it was a direct question. But when it's an indirect question, she could go around it. That's LinderTube. So did you ever find out if she slept with the guy? If this guy is here, just listen. You're freaking did the right thing. Actually, the only right thing you did is walking away. Keep walking for the love of baby Jesus. Ultimatum problem, it's a demonstration. Okay. I want to know if I'm fading out of existence and wasting my time and you don't care about me at all. Yeah. You can get a boundary without losing your cool. I'm gonna object to that. I'm gonna play devil's advocate on alternative spirituality. Some people communicate in a way that there was someone that just sent me a email recently, and they were how should I say this? The way they were negotiating with their girlfriend was very pragmatic, by the textbook. And I thought to myself, some people don't respond to that. I'm serious for a minute. I'm not into verbal abuse. I'm not into physical abuse at all in a relationship. But losing your cool sometimes proves a fucking point. I'm not saying to be premeditated. And there is boundaries on what's losing your cool and what's over the top. But losing your cool sometimes shows that you care. Losing your cool and saying, I've had enough, and having an argument where people raise their voices for a moment, I don't have a problem with that. If that's how you communicate. Doing that all the time is not good. But avoiding that and saying, you know what, we can create boundaries. Can you lower your voice with me and not raise your voice and not talk to me that way? Not everyone communicates that way. Can't disagree with anything you are saying. Just walk away even on the smallest things, people. Can't tolerate. Walk away. You don't need a valid reason. Don't even try to change. MacMan, you have just somewhat validated the first time I got upset with the girl I'm heartbroken over. I lost my cool when we got home, the bar, and she also invited another guy over that wanted her. That to me is a moment. She invited another. You can't control losing your cool, but losing your cool is a sign that things aren't good. If you're not someone that loses your cool often. This is personal for Mac. Not specifically. It's related to me. Yeah, all red pill coaches would say you should hold all this in and not react and just pull back, but your take is real. People naturally relax, so there's something to it. Yeah, if you wanted to go, I don't really give a shit and just pull away. Yeah, that would be a tactic, but a lot of people aren't that strategic in a moment. I'm not hearing the phrase "I love," "in love with" in either story. Did I miss something? I don't know what that's in. I'm a little confused. It's probably over by the time the ultimatum hits. Situation is when the mask falls. What's up, Blade? How you doing, bud? Isn't that a great name? Wasn't there a Wesley Snipes movie where he's a vampire and his name's Blade? Dude, same for me. In regards to looking back, thanks, baby Jesus. How it's now. Sleeping over would draw my suspicion. Alternative spirituality. What? May I just ask a personal question? What line of work are you in? I'm just curious. I'm cuddling with my cat. Looks like I missed a good one. We'll catch up afterwards, stream. You will get your answer. Good topic, because guys are being advised not to get upset and react at these days, all these days, just to take a loss and not communicate. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that giving an ultimatum or cranking up pressure is a good thing. Right? Let me be clear. Or losing your cool is a good thing. But once you've done it, look back and ask yourself, why did I do that? You always got to look back at some things that you did and reframe them in a way that'll serve you moving forward. Right? Okay. Because if you look back and you go, oh man, I really fucked up. The rest of your life you're going to fuck up. Right? We got to reframe this stuff. You got to look back and go, I did this for a reason. And the reason was I had enough. I'm not proud of getting that upset. And that red pill thing, that there's some truth to that. Like if you can go into the moment and go and you just ghosted her in that moment and just didn't talk to her in that moment and showed no feelings because you have other options and you have other women, that you can hook up with that are, on a dial tone and all these other things. Great. That's a whole other strategy. When stuff's past tense and you sit around the house biting your nails and feeling bad, you got to look back and go, you know what? Why'd I do that? It's like I look back at that 10-year breakup. It's crystal fucking clear. It's so crystal clear now. Oh shit. Things were never going to change. Because it's out of character for me to lose my cool. I don't like to lose my cool. I can get upset about things, but I'll tell you what, like raising your voice or getting in an argument and shit serves a purpose. If it's part of the way your relationships all the time, that's not good. But every once in a while, you need to stand up. You need to stand up with a little bit of gusto. You got to. If you don't, you breed resentment, which is a horrible thing to have in you, and contempt. And what happens with that is that bruise, and it bruise, and it bruise. And then a year, 2, 3 years later, you end up breaking up with them because you have all this, you end up blowing up later on. Animal care, okay. So a veterinarian or a vet tech, a caring individual, kind individual, I got you. Good morning. If someone cares about you, they should reassure you if they haven't cheated rather than being angry with you. I would agree with that statement. I don't know if it's pertinent to what I was talking about in this particular breakup story. I don't know if you heard from the get-go, MC, but what you just said is true. A nice lady yelling at a guy while she is the one who hit a car from the back with hers sounds like another day. What? I don't get that, Azam, really. Great movies. Which movie? Some people can't handle you losing your cool, some can. Well, that's on them. Here's the other thing too. If I'm around someone that doesn't lose their cool often and they lose their cool, I got to ask myself, there's got to be a good damn reason why they're losing their cool. If I'm in a relationship with someone that's never pressured me before or never pushed a little bit before, I got to ask myself, why are they doing this? I don't just go, hell, let's just break up. You're doing it too much. You got to unpack that shit. You know what? I don't like the way you're communicating. I don't like the way we're talking about this. Let's just take a day to process. Well, it sounds like this guy didn't give an ultimatum. He pressured her to keep up her end of the deal. Yes, Philip, and that's okay. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I think that maybe pressured is a bad word, but that's the word the individual used in the email with me, so I'm going to stick with it. But guess what? It wasn't because they were trying to get their way or they were being needy and weak. It was them going, hey, you told me that this is what this was going to be like. And then if that person's not even willing to talk about it or absorb it, and they just want to break up, this is one of those ones I have a real problem with. People that are willing to break up on a whim. Oh, Blade movies. Oh, with Wesley Snipes, yeah. Well, there's a guy named Blade that's on the live stream right now. Wesley Snipes is out of commission. When you feel uneasy feeling, when you feel uneasy feeling and insecure, when you realize that the tables have turned, carefully communicate your frustration, then back away. The tables have turned. They do turn, don't they? The tables do turn. Got 18 on deck and 4 likes. I appreciate it. Philip, thanks for chiming in. Breakup on a whim is common in high school. If someone impulsively breaks up with you and then they blame you for it without talking about it before and not getting clear on what happened and why, and then they do it again, and then they do it again, that says that they're not willing to be accountable. Missed the start of the stream as I was asleep. They're not willing to be accountable. Right? I was driving around and this happened in front of me. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, the tables turn and then they do, you're already 85% fucked. Her story is not adding up. I suppose. My point in this stream, I pressured my ex into breaking up with me. Ask yourself why you pressured your ex. Why you pressured them. And if you didn't pressure them and you were in the same relationship, if they would have ever changed. Be honest. Be honest. And then give yourself some time and go, do I really believe, even if I would have got my way and they would have done what I wanted, that it would have been still okay? You got to bet on yourself sometimes. You got to go, you know what? This being single again, not being around this person again, being broken up. Am I capable of meeting someone else of equal or higher value? And if you get an answer like no, I can't, work on yourself then. If you get an answer like I can't meet anyone equal or higher value right now, I don't look good, I don't like myself, I have bad breath, I have a shitty job, I'm not good with women. Work on all those things. I had a client, guy was bad with women, he was overweight, lacked confidence, was way too nice. I mean, and he knew it. All these things, he knew it. We ended up doing probably 10 to 12 live coaching sessions, maybe more. And you know what? This guy transformed himself. He didn't turn into a pickup artist. He didn't turn into some guy that's like, oh, I'm dating 3 women at once. But he started going to the gym. He joined like a jiu-jitsu fucking class. He joined a men's group. He had a card night at his house. He did all kinds of shit. And he put himself out there and he wasn't a victim. And you know what he did? He fucking bet on himself. He said, I can learn these fucking skills. I can learn these things. It took him a while. I'll never forget that though. And he had a lot of, even his weight, he was like, I'm losing weight, but I got stretch marks because he was fat before. right? I said, well, that's a better problem to have than when you're this. I'm sure there's some creams out there or something else you could put on it. I mean, when he was first out there dating, he was a train wreck. He had his heart ripped out 2 or 3 times because he was just too nice. Women would be like, you know what? I really like you, but I don't know what it is. It would always be the same thing because he was just too nice. It was unattractive. And he ended up meeting a woman. He sent me pictures during Christmas, and he's doing really well with her. But in the process, he read 4 or 5 of the books I recommended. I mean, when I say he read them in like 3 or 4 days. When I told him to like go to the gym, when I told him, hey man, go to a hairstylist and get a new haircut and get your beard trimmed, he listened. You don't like your looks? Do all the small things. People that look good, it's not just like they go to the gym. They actually put some work and time into it. I feel like in retrospect, it could seem like you were prompting the breakup when you were actually just unhappy, uneasy, and expressing your discontent with the dynamic and behavior. Lindertube, you hit it on the head. Right on the sweet spot, out of the park. Congratulations. Thanks for joining today. I really appreciate it. That's exactly what it was. Okay? I feel like in retrospect, it could seem like you were prompting the breakup when you were actually just unhappy, uneasy, and expressing your discontent with the dynamic and behavior. Pressure, ultimatums, yeah, no, they're not good for long-term relationships, and they can lead to breakups. They're not good. But if you've done them and they're done, you can't go back and change that. You can learn from it. You can do something different in the future, but you also could reframe it and go, I did that shit because I was really unhappy. And it could be you were unhappy with yourself. Looking back at mine, if I'm going to be completely candid with you guys, I wasn't happy with myself either. I was frustrated. We were still going to break up, and I was still going to be unhappy in that relationship, but there were some things that I wanted to work on, but I didn't know it. And the best time to work on those things is when you're single. Really is. Working on yourself while you're in a full-time relationship, it's not as easy, I don't think. Any closing questions? I got to get out of here. That was thirst. Nope. I have no emotional poker face. The big mistakes that I made were appropriate, natural gut reactions. Well, I'm glad that you can look at it that way. It's the same thing that happened. You just reframe the situation with something you can live with that's fair. It's a fair assessment. Right? Right. All right, folks. It's been good. It's been grand. I'll be back on deck soon. It's curtains.